Hey, fellow freaksters, it's Tim from the Moratorium. Just here to remind you that if you enjoy what you hear, please like, share, and subscribe, then rinse and repeat. We're just a couple of small-town nerds trying to make sweet geek love to your ear holes, and we can use your support. Look for us on your favorite social media, or contact us at moviemoratorium@gmail.com. Now that that's out of the way, on with the shenanigans. Welcome to the Moratorium. I'm your host, Tim Kornman. Each week I will be joined by some esteemed, and I use that term loosely, movie watchers, and breaking down some of the weirdest and strangest films to ever, not necessarily, grace the big screen. These are the deep dive oddities and backroom bootlegs that appeal only to the die-hard film fans. So sit back and enjoy the ride into the dark vault of the movie Moratorium.
I'm about a little over halfway through the movie.
I'm about like. I am 14 minutes into it again.
Okay, well, good. Then we'll just I'll come to where you are, and then...
Well, we don't want to start at 14 minutes.
Well, no, but I just we can watch the whole movie. But...
Oh, because we can't get past this first fucking scene, man.
I know. Boobies within seconds.
Boobies!
Yeah, and I just realized how much my chair squeaks every time I sit in it.
It's a constant. It's going to happen.
We call it the Chair Squeak Podcast. Squeakcast.
Wasn't there a character back in the name called Squeaky?
Squeaky was one of Charles Manson's.
Was it?
Yeah. Let's try to steer away from I don't know, I guess. Talk about it now.
It's Squiggy. Where did Squiggy came from? Where did that's
Laverne and Shirley.
I know, but where did that name come from?
That's his name. That's his Christian name, is Squiggy.
Is that it?
David Lander is that guy's name, by the way.
Oh, see, thank you. I was just going to look it up. I'm like...
Mm-hmm. Michael McKean was...
Oh, of course.
Lenny.
Did they get their runoff show? No, they just showed up and everything, didn't they? Were they in Happy Days and shit like that?
Yeah. I believe they were.
Did they start off in Happy Days and branch off to Laverne and Shirley and...
Yeah,
but they never got their own show?
I don't know. Just be called Sexual Predators. His name is Squiggy Squigman. Andrew Squiggy Squigman. I have never... I wish I didn't know that.
That's awesome.
Squigman?
Squigman.
Why?
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay.
And where is he now?
Oh, he's still alive, isn't he?
It looks like it.
Yeah.
So, just curious.
Glad we cleared all that up.
For all of you listeners who are worried about David L. Lander, a.k.a. Squiggy. All right, so, welcome to the Moratorium. I'm your host, Tim Kornman.
Oh, you really pulled it out at the last night. I didn't think you were going to think.
I had to remember my name. I was like, oh, shit, who am I? Who am I?
And I'm Jason Walker.
Oh, there he is.
I didn't know if you were going to introduce me or not.
Well, I assume it's okay if you just burst in whenever you're ready.
Let's just get right into it.
Yeah. So what are we watching?
I guess we're just going to watch old episodes of Laverne and Shirley. Yeah.
And you know all the words to the song, right?
Of course. I have no idea what Schlemiel Schlemazel means. But...
I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it's racist when you say it.
Yeah. I think it's some obscene sex act.
Ooh.
But I think that about everything. So we're doing the last part of the Lucio Fulci's Gates of Hell trilogy?
That's it.
Would that be correct?
That would be correct. Which is?
House by the Cemetery. The House by the Cemetery.
Can you say it in a creepy voice?
The House by the Cemetery.
That's what you sounded like when you got up this morning.
Exactly. A little froggy.
Hey, honey, give me some coffee. I gotta do House by the Cemetery.
Yeah, we're watching The House by the Cemetery, directed by Lucio Fulci. A lot of the same actors and actresses as The Beyond and City of the Living Dead, aka Gates of Hell. I was doing a little research on IMDb, and
this is a movie, right?
Yes. Oddly enough, do you know who Brother Theodore is?
Sounds like somebody I should know.
Okay, Brother Theodore is the grandparent, I guess, of the weird family in the Burbs. He's one of the Klopeks.
Okay, yeah, okay.
His name's Brother Theodore.
Brother Theodore.
His name's Theodore Gottlieb, if you really want to know.
Not to be confused with one of the chipmunks.
No. Well, no. But anyway, I guess he was the voice. He was like the In a World guy, the movie.
Okay, yeah,
you know, he did kind of the voiceover for the trailers for House by the Cemetery.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How did you come across that?
I have no idea. What was that? I think I was just randomly looking at Burbs Wikipedia, which I do from time to time. Mm-hmm. Fascinated by that movie. I love that movie.
The Burbs was his last film. Huh. Didn't know that. Yeah, he died in 2001, so he had plenty of time between then. More trivia on him. He played the voice of Gollum in the TV movie of The Hobbit.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, interesting.
Let me just say, he is a terrifying man. He is so scary in the Burbs.
We'll have to venture back to talk more about the Burbs, since we can't put it on. We can't do a podcast over it, or we could.
I wouldn't think,
but we just love that movie, and
yes, it doesn't quite fit the criteria of our.
No, I don't think any of Tom Hanks' films would. Even Mazes and Monsters probably wouldn't make it.
Ooh, I wouldn't go
you
that
beg
far.
to differ? Was that part of the moratorium? It was ancient.
Maybe just do a Tom Hanks cast.
And it looks like Lucio Fulci's trilogy here, really, maybe they came to New York, quote unquote, New York, to film all three movies at the same time, or what? The filming locations for House by the Cemetery include Concord, Massachusetts. Boston, New York, New York City.
And Canada, right?
No, I don't see Canada in there. Rome, Italy for studio shit. So
that's what I am curious. I'm curious about where the interior, all that stuff was done. All right, one of the first scenes, and this is like jumping ahead just a little bit, that is a creepy house, like the exterior of that house with the graveyard. That's cool. And it looks like a house that could exist in Massachusetts or
New England
or like
territory.
Yeah, like upstate New York or something.
Well, shall we go ahead and get started?
Yeah,
Let's
sure.
Get into it.
Okay.
Because you've already mentioned it. I'm going to mention it again. Any film that, and I'm going to time it here, any film that can show nudity within the first 45 seconds.
Yeah.
Right?
You kind of know what you're in for.
It's great.
Yeah.
And truthfully, here we are, 38 seconds into the film.
Cool. That's like on par with like a Roger Corman movie. And this actress is, I mean, I can just say it is the actress from City of the Living Dead that sees the priests and pukes her guts up.
Her death in this film is her IMDb pick.
I saw that.
Love it. Daniela Doria is her name.
And she is like, is this post-coitus?
I assume, and maybe she's trying to play a teenager who's escaped with her boyfriend, but really
she's in her
mid-30s.
That's exactly what I was going to say. As far as like abandoned like makeout houses go, this one is almost like, you know, I know they're horny and stuff.
But yeah, is there a clean spot? Did they bring a blanket?
Is there a broom?
A broom and blanket, the best broom and blanket money could buy.
Can we get a Swiffer? Possibly.
So anyway, this is post-coital.
Yes.
And her boyfriend's disappeared. Did he
like
run up to take a leak? And, I mean, we just pop in on her putting her shirt back on
a dirty floor.
Dirty. Oh.
And cobwebs everywhere.
Mm-hmm. I got to tell you, I love the spiral staircase when you've got the camera just, coming into frame, which is cobwebs and dust everywhere. She's looking around for her boyfriend, but there's a flashlight. Now we see kind of a flashlight going through the house when we see the exterior of the house. It's very brief. It's like somebody's looking around and she's kind of following like a flashlight type thing.
Yes.
Right?
It's hard to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see the flashlight shining from outside the house.
Mm-hmm. So Daniela Diora is looking for her boyfriend, walking through
just broken glass and leaves.
When we finally see him, he's hung on the back of a door.
Mm-hmm.
Is this kind of like, like you were in third grade when somebody gave you a atomic wedgie and hooked your underwear on the back of the the coat
very
hanger?
Funny, guys. I'm gonna tell the principal, Oh, my brain's exposed.
Oh, that is a cool shot though, because his brains are just
that is a Lucio Fulci technique, is like underlit, like it's got kind of a spotlight on him a little bit. But I thought I can't put my finger on why it's so. This scene when she sees him, and does the door like close with him on it, or is he just there all the time?
No, he's attached to the door.
I think it's funny that they strung him up there and then like closed the door. Like, it looks really odd because his head looks completely like been curb stomped, but then he's got a little it's a little scissors.
Yeah. Some pinking shears.
Yeah, they look like my mom's cross-stitch scissors. And I was like, is that what killed him? Or is that like, or are they just like, and I'll just, they were on the desk. I'll just stab these into him too.
I just finished trimming my mustache.
Yeah. I just cut out some coupons for Target. Here, have this right in your chest.
It's so quick, and I love his makeup. I really do.
Yeah, no, it looks very cool. Sometimes the blood differs in like its viscosity.
So she screams, and we see is this Dr. Freudstein's hand?
We're led to
Freudstein,
who knows?
Freudstein, what do you call it?
No, this far into the movie, nobody. I mean.
Right.
And I have a lot to say about that earlier, because like it seems to me like this plot might be one of the simplest ones in this trilogy, because in the Beyond and City of the Living Dead, you're really asked to
fill in.
Yeah, just like do your own research about what this means, because we're going so fast that we're not going to tell you, and you tell us if you think it makes sense. They're just doing it to like get the plot moving along, but it really doesn't make a lot of sense.
I like this death. I really do.
Her death?
Yeah, her death. And I think it's iconic. Blade going through the back of the head and out of her mouth.
Yeah. Lucio Fulci has a lot of movies where their heads are stabbed by things, like pierced heads.
We do a close up on her face. I dig that blade sticking out of her mouth.
I mean, it does look like Steve Martin like putting an arrow through his head.
Well, yeah,
with blood.
It closes in on the mood ring on her finger.
Yeah, so right. Which is groovy. I do love a groovy mood ring.
And it looks like she was pretty calm. But I think that this is probably why that the killer wanted her in the first place, is just because it was a nice mood ring. It's like, oh man, I got to have some of that. grabs her by the ankles, drags her dead body, leaving a nice trail of blood, a Swiffer trail of blood.
Yeah, like a bloody mop.
That even with the blood on the floor is a cleaner spot than any place else on the floor.
If she and her boyfriend had just, anything, some Viz Queen, saran wrap, anything. Okay.
All right.
I'm getting ready to get real irritated.
Okay. Bye.
Bob.
Oh,
I hate Bob.
Easy. I want to. This is the toe-headest.
Toe-headedest.
The toe-headedest kid I've ever seen.
Yeah, he looks like a kind of Hitler youth. Super. He actually just looks
super
like,
Aryan.
Yeah, he actually just looks like Scandinavian. That kid is in so much stuff. He's in a movie called Warriors of the Wasteland.
Yep, I would look that up. I did not realize that was an Italian film.
Oh, God. People are going to have to watch this movie, but, that's what you're dealing with, too, is that everyone in the movie is dubbed, and sometimes very poorly.
Just like this kid.
Whoever does his voice...
I want to curb stomp him.
Ugh. I mean, I hope that they've at least come out publicly and apologized for doing this, because it is the most annoying voice ever.
And to think that maybe they did a voiceover for him making car sounds throughout this entire film.
Yeah. You're right.
Revving engine.
Mm-hmm. He looks like a Scandinavian Adam Rich, the little kid from Eight Is Enough, kind of, that had that hair helmet kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just as offended by his existence. Hey, can we start calling him like LF or something? Because I really want to little fucker.
Is that what you?
I really want Lucio Fulci.
Oh, okay. Well, we can call Lucio Fulci a little fucker as well. LF.
That little fucker. We're gonna see him here in a second.
Yep.
Hey, but no, I'm just in case we're pronouncing it wrong 100 times.
Oh,
I'm just calling him LF.
LF. Now, I do dig this opening after the credits when we start seeing the picture on the wall and going in and out and seeing the little girl with her hand on the window. That's pretty kind of creepy. I like going back and forth from that picture. That's kind of cool.
But the existence of that picture, I don't know if we want to wait until, because so far you don't know any of the plot really. And even after they tell you, it's really hard to pin down exactly what's going on. But I just think
ahead.
Okay, but that picture, I'm confused about that picture.
Okay.
So I'll get back to it.
But she says something to her husband about it later. This house looks exactly like the picture you have hanging up in your office back in New York.
Oh.
And he's like, oh, really? No, I didn't. And he seems kind of like, I'm hiding. Oh, you noticed that, huh? I will have to kill you now.
His character is, you just never get a grasp on if he knows more than he does or if he is just willfully ignorant of the situation. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
Because he is, okay, we'll get to it. There's a lot, he's a weird character.
He is. So Mom takes a closer look at the picture on the wall, and the little girl's not there. And I think that's what it was. Is Bob immediately has The Shining?
Yeah, right.
So he sees a little girl in the picture saying, "Don't come to this house."
I think that's what they're going for with The Shining. It predated this, I guess, maybe.
Yeah, The Shining was 1980.
Yeah, so of course.
Well, at least Kubrick's film was 80.
That is creepy when it closes in on. And that
so the little boy sees the ghost of the girl, and Mom doesn't. That's cool. That's interesting. But notice that though, when they're packing up so they can go to this remote location for her husband to do research.
Yes, they still haven't even tried to. You're just seeing images right now. They still haven't really tried to explain any of the plot.
Anything. Right.
Can we talk about her husband and his mentor or whatever here?
Lucio Fulci or LF
Yes.
and her husband.
What is his name? What is his name in the movie? I think his real name is like Paolo something.
It's Marco.
No, his name is Norman.
Norman. No, his real name is Paulo Malco.
Yep.
Dr. Norman Boyle. Before we get to their little exposition as they're walking down the road, I wanted to bring up the little girl, because we actually see the little girl outside of the house staring at the house, and it's her mother, quote unquote, and standing behind her in like the cemetery,
I guess,
telling her to come back, kind of giving you the idea that this little girl's a ghost from the beginning. And I dig that.
Mm-hmm.
And she says that she's not ready to come back because she has to warn them or whatever. She's trying to protect the boy. I dig that. I really do dig that.
Yeah. But
the ghost playing a real, I mean, we're not trying to hide the fact that she's a ghost.
Well, yeah. I mean, if she isn't a ghost, she's being really creepy.
Yeah, exactly.
Hanging out in the cemetery with a weird doll. Yeah, I like that too. But still, whoever dubbed her voice is really annoying.
Mm-hmm. Not as annoying as Bob. And Lucio, whoever did LF's voice again.
Yes.
Did he handpick these guys to do the voices?
Whoever did the doctor's voice, Dr. Norman Boyle, I recognize his voice from the other movies.
So maybe just the same
guy.
The same pools.
Yes. But okay. So now are we at the like kind of little walk and talk thing?
Yeah. Take 3 steps, pause, look at each other. Mm-hmm. Take 3 steps, take a puff off your pipe, pause, look at each other.
This is just total exposition is what Lucio Fulci's telling this guy is why he's going to this remote location, which is to...
It was researching suicide.
Yes. So the guy...
They say something like that?
Yes. And they really say like, how ironic is, a guy researching suicide and he commits suicide. Who would have ever
really got into his work? That's all we had to say.
Yeah. It's like, well, in order to understand it, I've got to try it out. And he's just dangling. It's like, oh, wait a minute. And this is the way my boss died.
Oh.
He knows this guy, right?
LF they're colleagues.
No, I mean have they said the name yet? Where's the first time that his name is said?
Probably right here when
that's what I thought.
They're loading up the car, so you got Bob playing in the car, and Mom and Norman are Norman, why my plants? Penny's gonna water them.
He's wearing women's glasses. The doctor is. They are so womany.
Really, all we know is that they're loading up their stuff. Bob and his mom earlier had to pack up his ties. It didn't make any sense. You haven't packed your ties, Bob.
This bag is heavy. Will you help me with it? With your big bag of ties? Meanwhile, he's wearing a turtleneck, as in like, fuck you. I'm not going to call me tie guy. I don't know where they're at right here. The Lucio Fulci and the doctor.
It was either Massachusetts or New York. And I really think it was all the exterior shots, because when we see the family driving away, going to their destination, we can see the Twin Towers in the background. So, New York.
Yeah, let's not. Well, it's just, I thought that scene was funny because they open on them talking beneath a huge
American flag.
And I was like, are they just trying to, is this actually somewhere in Italy? Or?
I wouldn't put it past them, because I think that's what they've done in every other film.
Exactly.
We've got to sell that this is not Italy.
Right.
But why? I mean, many of these films, just like Argento did the same type of thing too. He had one American actor.
Right, yeah.
In his film, and a lot of the plot is an American travels to Italy, travels to Rome. It seems like it's always an outsider who gets trapped in, otherworldly circumstances out of their element. Away
Dumb
from their
American. Yeah, like Christopher George.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just saw that seemed like a trend in these films.
So now they're driving to Whitby?
They're going to Boston.
Well, okay, so I got real confused. I admit that I got bogged down in like the locations and stuff. Oh, you're right. They can see the Twin Towers when they drive by.
Yeah. Okay, I'm to where our little ghost child is looking at a
mannequin
display window of 3 different mannequins. Little boy, which can only be Mom, Bob, and babysitter.
Right. Yeah.
And they actually did a really good job making that mannequin look like this babysitter that we see later.
When she gets introduced, it really is. It looks just like her. Almost like they just put paper mache on her face or something. And then her head falls off.
Mm-hmm. And it's actually pretty creepy.
Yeah, that was cool.
Maybe they used this mannequin later for her death scene.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, she still has kind of that vapid, like, blank look in her face. I think the mannequin is slightly more alive than...
a better actress, at least.
Better actress than Anne is. more emotion on his face. I love it. He pulls up and he says something like, "There's the real estate company." And it's just got a big sign that says real estate. We're like, thank you for clarifying where you're at. Okay, we need to just state the plot right now, because this is where it's at its clearest, I think, is one of his colleagues named Dr. Peterson was in Whitby, whether it's Canada or...
Mm-hmm.
And he's doing a study on suicide, and then he commits suicide in a library, which is,
yeah,
could be worse.
There's plenty of chairs in the library.
Yeah.
To hang yourself.
Yeah, sure. It's just more economical.
I love that they leave Bob in the car. Well, they're going in to sign papers for the lease on this house that they're going to live in. This huge house that I guess they got for a cheap price because it has passed.
Okay. So...
quote unquote. I did air quotes there. You didn't see it.
Okay, you're going to have to make a... Okay, now wait a minute. What you just said, is that what's happening? Because isn't he... That's what I'm confused about it. I thought the school was paying him to, like, carry on Peterson's work or something. But, I mean, I guess they do have to sign papers. I don't know. None of this is important. It doesn't matter.
But they left Bob in the car, and why I really...
So he could get abducted?
I wanted him to get abducted. Just take him out of this film. Which he sees the little girl right out on the street holding the doll. And
they're about 200 yards away from each other, but they can hear each other perfectly.
Yes, because I'm in your head, Bob. Bob.
My voice. Bob.
Is this what the song Voices Carry is about?
Maybe. Oh, my God. You're probably right. That first scene, that girl from City of the Living Dead said Steve like 10 times. Steve? 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 Bob is playing with a grungy doll. It looks like Kathleen O'Hara.
The doll looks like it's in battered condition where it wasn't when the girl had it. I thought that was kind of creepy.
Oh, like it's newer when she...
Yeah. So this doll is actually, it's missing a leg, missing an arm. It looks a little, its hair is all disheveled. I'm so worried about this doll.
Yeah, or unless Bob did all that to him in the 10 minutes that he had.
In the 3 minutes that he was playing with it on the grass.
Women should only have one ankle. Oh.
I hobble my girls so they can't get away.
Bob. Says Bob for no reason. All right, can we finally get some kills in or something?
No. You got the real estate agent backing over a grave to get out of the parking lot.
Isn't that a federal crime? Yeah, she's like,
just pills out on a headstone.
yeah, but I also feel that way about Jeep people. Like, I bet Jeep people don't think that they have to play by the same rules as all the rest of us. They've got a fucking Jeep. Assholes.
Meanwhile, a couple of our good friends own Jeeps.
Yeah, but they're not, I don't think they're,
They're not listening. Which, nobody is. So it doesn't matter what we say or who we offend.
Just throwing...
My name's a Bob.
so this is when, you have you can be as racist as you want. Or stereotypical as you want.
There we go. It's not racism.
No.
I love them so much I can make fun of them endlessly. Yeah.
Sure.
So this house is damn creepy. It's huge. There's plenty of room for Bob to play with his remote control car and make weird revving sounds with his mouth.
His stupid mouth. Norman does not look like a guy that just goes into a place and starts fixing plumbing problems. I don't even know what he was doing over there, but...
No, he turned on the faucet. Hey, we've got water now. Really?
My hands are too weak to turn this. I can get a wrench. My little Italian hands. Okay, wait a minute.
Oh, that's hilarious. I love it.
His performance in this movie is like, he doesn't really get like upset about anything. I mean, he's so...
That's why I wondered if he was kind of in on it.
Yes, exactly. But I know, no spoiler alert, but I don't think he was. He's just a pawn and
oblivious.
Yes. Have they said the word Freudenstein yet?
Yeah, the real estate man did while he was finding the keys. Oh, the Freudstein's house. She's like, no, it's called Oak Manor now.
Right, and he's like kind of grumbling to himself. He's like,
yeah.
Well, I call it the fucking Freudenstein house. But if you were like just unlucky enough to be taking a big drink of something the first time they say Freudenstein,
you'd spit it out. It's a spit take.
Yes. That is the coolest.
Is it?
Just over the top, like.
We didn't know what else to call this.
Yeah. So I can't call it Frankenstein. Well, it sounds like that, but it is way dumber.
The closed caption just says Bob revving engine.
Oh, God.
This dude
just has like 1.5 facial expressions. He has completely dead face, and then a slight smirk when he's helping a woman do something.
And then smirking dead face.
Yeah, kind of a smirky dead face.
You said dead face, but I was thinking it's deadpan is what you're going for. Deadpan?
Yeah.
No?
Also, there's a fourth one, which is whenever he looks at Anne, the babysitter. Oh,
yeah? A little smarmy?
No, it's just like you said earlier that you don't really know if he's in on it or not, Mm-hmm. It seems like he has more information than he's...
So while they were having a conversation, kind of talking about the house and us staying here, I guess they were setting up that they were going to be in this house for 6 months. That was my air quotes.
Okay. I didn't hear 6 months.
You didn't hear 6 months? Okay. I think that's what they were saying, because he said it. Well, I thought we were going to say it was like a vacation. Vacation is not 6 months.
No, that's like a...
not unless you're in quarantine.
Or in The Shining. Oh my God, when he whips out those girly glasses.
But she was unboxing some shit out in the kitchen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Reaching over that broken doll that Bob brought back from the grave.
Side of the road.
Yeah. Whatever. And she reaches over it like 6 times and then gets freaked out about the doll and picks it up and moves it. I just found that funny.
Yeah, she puts up with a lot in this movie,
mm-hmm.
and in the other movies she's in. Anne is such a strange.
She's got a Brooke Shields brow.
Exactly.
And just in case you didn't understand that she looked like the mannequin, when we introduced her, there is a flashback to the mannequin.
Yes. And again, the mannequin is more lifelike than she is.
Emoting.
Yeah.
So much more.
Right.
So in case you didn't get that foreshadowing, let's show the mannequin decapitated.
Right. And it's also, like the Omen, where it's just, who are you again? I'm the babysitter. Oh, okay. Well, I instantly trust you. You can watch our son.
We left the door unlocked. A stranger walked in. You're the babysitter? Oh, well, we weren't expecting you for... Oh, we ordered a babysitter?
Yeah. Okay.
It must have been my husband. He's so forward thinking.
Meanwhile, her and the babysitter and the husband are looking at each other like, like it's just zooming in on their eyes, like something's going on. I just don't know what it is. Are you to the library?
Oh, no, he just opened up the satchel and pulled out what I guess he was supposed to have some Freudstein stuff in it, and he's checking out the house. He's hearing creaks and moans. It's an old house. It's going to have creaks and moans.
It's settling.
Yeah. It's the pipes that you didn't fix.
That fucking cracked me up when he had like a pair of vice grips. I was like, what's he doing over there?
Yep, just turn the handle. I don't know why they didn't grab any WD-40 at some point in this movie. We'll talk about that later.
Everything creaks. Put some olive oil in it. They're fucking... They're in Italy. I don't know.
But I was still to the point where Anne, the babysitter, is breaking trying to get into the basement.
Yeah. With like some fireplace implement or something.
Exactly. A little shovel for your ashes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it made me think that she was in on it, right? That she,
of course,
wanted to open up the basement and release this.
Spoiler alert, but it's not going to turn out well for anybody. Really. Right. This house is cool looking.
It is. I dig this house.
It looks like a real house, and it looks like there's not one room that is... Every room is spooky,
Mm-hmm. So she goes downstairs. Why? I don't understand. Does she hear something? Is that why she goes downstairs? But the basement door starts clattering.
She screams really well.
It says low growling, clattering, object shattering, low moaning, and she starts freaking out.
That was a Dr. Seuss that you just did right there.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's another shot. So after she screams, I dig this shot of the exterior, and it looks like it's the gravestone maybe that the real estate agent knocked over.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
just leaning over in the
frame.
Foreground.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You see the house in the background. I love that shot.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Some fiddle-faddle product placement there on the table. Maxwell House, fiddle-faddle.
Yes, this is an American home, not a set in Italy.
Exactly.
So, yeah, does he go up the stairs?
Yes.
So it is on the second floor where she found the crypt, because he runs upstairs to see her shivering, holding herself.
Weird. So...
But they get into that later, right?
He explains it to her later that, it's like...
A not so sub basement?
He just says that the ground's too hard because it's always freaking cold, and I don't know. That's it. That's his...
There's some cheap explanation there.
Yeah, for having a dead body.
In the meantime, I found some old keys. I think we can open up the basement. See, again, close up on eyes. Eyes.
Yeah. Real suspicious glances.
And in the meantime, so they're trying to get the door open. So little Bob brings over a big sharp-ass kitchen knife.
Like a steak knife.
To get them to open up this door.
Yeah, and the guy's like, thanks, Bob. I'll just dull the edge of this knife and throw it away when I'm done. So it's the dumbest fucking tool you could have brought me.
They leave it on the countertop throughout the entire movie. It's just right there and open. Why didn't Bob grab the knife, fall down the stairs?
Yeah.
End of the movie. I would have been happy.
I mean, that's a little too much. But
Oh, I'm sorry.
I just wanted them to have to take him to urgent care, and then he would just not in the rest of the movie and want to kill him.
So what are we finding down here in the basement?
Why is he so excited? He's like, hey, we can finally get into the basement.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you? You're only there for 6 months. Why would you want to go to the basement?
Okay, so this is where it got a little suspicious of me too. So going down the stairs, he finds the mood ring, looks up to his wife and kid to see if they're looking as he sticks it in his pocket. Like, all right, I'm going to keep this under wraps. Nobody's going to see this.
Yeah.
And then a bat. I love the bat scene.
Oh, gosh.
It goes on forever. It attacks her, this huge fake bat attacking her hair for like 5 minutes straight. But this bat attacking and biting the doctor, I keep calling him doctor.
You know, he's just forcing that bat onto his hand. Of course it's going to fucking bite him.
We've already established we have a sharp knife on the countertop, but he goes to the junk drawer to pull out some scissors to kill this bat that's on his hand.
He stabs it and it's like a jelly-filled donut. It's
Dude,
just like,
there is so much blood in this bat.
is that raspberry or?
I loved it. It was so funny. I think I laughed out loud.
Yeah, kind of like
So
tarantulas in The Beyond.
But this took it, I think, a step further.
Yeah, it was better and worse. And after that happens, there is another just scene about like who owns the Freudstein house. It's a real estate scene.
Yeah.
It's just two realtors talking to each other. And I don't really know what it even accomplishes.
Really, they just wanted it, I guess, setting up them that we don't want to stay in this house anymore. You'll see you get attacked by a bat. And he just shakes his head. That Freudstein house.
I know. He looks like one of the guys from Jaws, like one of the
like the
chamber of like the Chamber of Commerce guys. There's a cool scene. I like all the sound effects in all of these movies. But sometimes there will be like a whimpering, like a weird cry in there, and then just a bunch of hockey equipment getting moved from one room to the next or something.
Okay, we have the real estate agent coming into
she comes
the
in for
house.
no reason. I don't know. She kind of put her hand up by her head when she saw the girl on the street.
But she didn't knock.
No, she just came right in.
She's looking for the babysitter. She's calling for
Anne,
right?
Because they're all, I mean, that's what, it would be easier, everybody's in on it but the family. You know what I mean? Like the other realtor knows, like it's the Freudstein house or whatever. It's like cursed, you know? It's like the Amityville house.
Here we go again. Now this gives you another perspective because the real estate agent goes into the kitchen, comes back into the little foyer area where you see the massive staircase. I dig that staircase there.
Yeah, isn't looking where she's going at all.
But it's in this little gathering area that's not upstairs on the second floor that shows the crypt in the floor.
You're right. It's a completely different, and it looks all cleaned up and.
Yeah. They have definitely had a 360 duster going after it.
The Roomba's just like clogging up with like. You're right. That is meant to be the same.
So maybe it wasn't on the second floor. It just appeared to be. There may be like 2 steps going up.
They made the topper for it like that thing out of foam because she just like steps right through it like it's like it's padding for a TV or something.
Her ankle gets trapped in this cover of this crypt.
Yeah.
In the meantime, Dr. Freudstein, quote, air quote, Freudstein
It's just young Frankenstein.
He grabs a fireplace poker. I asked him, "Is it not like a poker?"
It doesn't have that other. It's just
It's just a spike.
It's just a big spike.
Yeah, it's just your random fireplace spike.
It does make a good weapon.
And goes after this real estate agent, where she's just screaming out,
writhing around.
Where he jabs it into like her ribs and just twists it slowly as she starts just leaking all sorts of jelly donut.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is dark red.
Yeah.
It is raspberry jam.
Yep.
But I love it when he jabs her in the neck with that poker and just blood is gushing out. It's pretty visceral.
I guess she's so terrified she can't move.
Well, her leg's stuck in the crypt.
Oh, I guess you're right.
That's what it was, yeah. So Freudstein's dragging her away, and that's when you can see half of her face mangled up. There's an eyeball missing, yeah.
Yeah. When they cut away for a second, he ripped half of her head off. I think that's my favorite scene in this entire movie is when he finally pokes into her jugular vein, kind of,
Mm-hmm.
And there's a slow motion fan of blood that comes out.
And dragging her body away, and it's just...
Oh, yeah, her head looks fucking awesome.
Oh, it's awesome.
Those two hands, one hand was just totally normal, and the other hand looked like it had bacon fat Mod Podged to it or something. It looked really cool.
So quick question here. Freudstein had to clean up all this blood
from the realtor,
okay, we see it right here.
Anne's cleaning it up.
So Anne's kind of in on it.
She is in on it. She's totally evil, and nobody can see this. Look at her.
My quick question is: we saw an outside view of the house. Where is the Jeep? The realtor didn't walk there. Yeah.
So you're thinking either Anne moved it, or we're just going to assume that Anne moved it, because I don't think
You don't think Freudstein can drive?
I don't think reanimated Dr. Freudstein can work a stick.
He's just out there peeling out, and the rest of the cemetery just bogging it down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see that.
Cuts to him. He's just
yeah. Drinking a Busch Light, screaming out the window.
Yeah.
Spring break.
Yep. Get your skis out. Grab a stick of juicy fruit.
The taste is gonna move you.
Dr. Freudstein in cut off jean shorts.
Mom comes down, sees Anne cleaning up the blood. Oh, it's nothing.
Yeah, cat just exploded this morning. No big deal.
Yeah, nothing to see here.
Yeah. I love Anne's character. They just give her full access to the house, and nobody knows who. I mean, I guess the realtor vetted or Oh, I'm watching that scene again, and that poker does have a retractable. The last 2 inches of it go up into the. He is still just cool as a cucumber through this. Did we miss the scene where he went to when he took the bat, to the. He is just typing away, writing a book. Meanwhile, he doesn't know if he just got, rabies.
Mm-hmm. All right. No, there's no testing in the 80s for that.
All I know is you have to get 20 shots in the stomach.
Anyway, I am at 50.
Okay, me too.
I'm at the 50
He just got back to the library, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
All his shit's still where he left it. Could you have cleaned that up a little bit?
Yeah.
You just left papers everywhere.
So meanwhile, we've got Bob running around playing hide and seek with a ghost in the cemetery that's outside the house.
Yes.
In which he said he snuck out while his mom thought he was taking a nap.
Yeah. He's just gonna sneak back in. All of a sudden he's very like,
he's very cunning.
Yeah.
He's like Beastmaster's ferrets. Very cunning.
What are their names?
Frodo and Kodo? No, not Frodo.
Not Frodo, but Kodo.
Podo.
Sure.
Kodo and Podo.
Ugh.
So question here. He's going through Freudstein's stuff and finds a Memorex tape. That's
yeah.
Is this reminiscent?
It's a little Evil Dead-ish, but
it says Peterson personal on the tape. I don't know if you want to play that. Don't play that. It's been days and days since I stopped thinking. I can't eat. I can't sleep.
This scene is gross.
The signs, the warnings of this house, Freudstein's house. That anguish, crying, and Sheila smiles. What? Sheila smiles.
Who is Sheila?
I don't know. Is that his wife?
His wife's name is Mary.
Yeah,
and the babysitter's name is Anne. We already have our. For him to throw in a Sheila right now is like. These are like stumbling blocks that we don't need at this point. Don't add.
Somebody slipped and put the actor's real name in there.
We're already confused with the limited amount of actors there are right now. Keep it simple. He's walking away from the library like he just wrecked the bathroom, and he doesn't want anybody to know that was him. Yeah, definitely in Massachusetts.
So no, I'm still on. So while he's listening to this tape, he's envisioning everything that's going on.
Yes,
that everything is talking about.
I think Peterson is explaining, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it's Peterson.
It's the Peterson personal tape.
Of course.
In which it shows the crypt door, and I dig that, the blood coming up and surrounding the crypt door. And then it kind of gives us an insight into the crypt where there's just body parts, limbs, and I don't know.
Yeah. Well, this is the basement. He's explaining
part of a torso.
Yeah. And he's like, if you put your fingers in the bowl, it's Miss Reedy's first, science class kid's eyeballs. People in this movie cannot wait to go into the basement.
When we go into the basement and we start seeing the visceral elements of skulls and hands and severed pieces of body, and it kind of looks like a torture chamber.
Yeah, there's a table.
Yeah, there's all sorts of instruments just strewn about.
It looks very much like the scene in Evil Dead. Yeah, it is Evil Dead 1, I think. Where it's just a bunch of twitching, like, body parts,
Yeah.
That scene is my favorite part of this movie. And, all the time, Dr. Peterson is kind of like doing it's a lot like Evil Dead. He's narrating this gruesome scene that you're seeing.
In which Norman is looking, and I'm sorry, he listens to the tape and then incinerates it, and because there is an incinerator in the library that's constantly going.
That seems like a bad idea.
Never been to a library that actually had an open flame source for you to randomly throw objects in.
Mm-hmm. Big papery object. You wouldn't want to put a fire around a bunch of papery objects. That seems really irresponsible.
Yes. So freaking Bob is playing with this damn car. When he was, there was a shot of him right before this scene when he's playing with his car that actually he had a toy gun. It was a pink toy gun laying next to him.
Mm-hmm, I saw that too.
I just wanted to point that out. Mom's coming out of a Woolworths.
Mom better have, I would say, $100 AA batteries for Bob to fucking drive that car as long as those batteries last probably 5 minutes, and he's been driving that car all damn movie.
Mm-hmm. But she comes out of the Woolworths. I guess she is walking home.
I was paying attention to that scene. I think she got dropped off by her husband, and when he asked her something like, well, how are you going to get the groceries home? And she's like, well, I could use a walk. She's got like 30 pounds of groceries.
Yes.
She's going to walk home with all that?
And she walks out of the Woolworths, and he drives by, and she sees him like, oh, he's coming. Oh, and then he keeps driving. And she's kind of just like, well, I guess he's caught up in his work. I'll go for that walk after all.
They need marriage counseling.
Yeah. All right, moving forward.
She stop off at the Old Colony Bank and open a
look like
checking account, maybe?
Got to open my own personal account.
I can get away from this bastard.
All right, so Bob's still playing around the house while being, quote, unquote, watched over.
Babysat, creepy.
Which I don't think they've ever been in the scene together.
No, they're just like yelling at each other from two different close-ups.
Or sets.
Yeah.
So she's looking around for Bob. He's obviously playing hide and seeks, right? And so he's playing hides and seeks.
Plural. Two different versions of the game.
He's luring her down into the basement.
Maybe.
You
mean Bob is?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, or she thinks he's luring down. Maybe it's Freudstein fucking with this babysitter. And that's why Bob locked the door on her.
I'm just going to say it right now.
Good, come out.
Up until this scene where she seems worried about Bob, while the entire time she seems...
She didn't know there was a kid in the house.
Yeah, right.
Now she's worried about him?
Yes, exactly. So, up until this scene, I was convinced that Anne was maybe like reincarnation of his mistress? I mean, did you ever get that?
Okay.
Somehow I got that idea. Because she just shows up and acts so weird.
Right.
You know?
Right.
She's got to be an agent of the... but maybe she isn't. Maybe that's just who she is. You know? This is 81?
Yep.
And maybe, the goth thing is just finally... She just seems really goth. Instead of like malignant? Is that what I just said?
Sure. That's what you tried to say. Yeah.
Malicious is what I meant to say.
There you go.
I've had a couple of beers. But anyway.
I'm on 2. I'm on my second, and day drinking is way...
Yeah. It's 3:00 in the afternoon. That's not bad.
It's 3:00? Right? Oh, this is not day drinking. This is like I'm got to catch up.
Yes. Well, let's get this stupid podcast over with, and then
yeah. His Curious George doll is named...
The monkey wearing a hat like yours?
Yeah, his name's Yogi.
Wait a minute.
Bob, open the door. Bob, and he's grabbing his toys. He's got his pink toy gun, his flashlight, and his Curious George named Yogi. She's in the basement trying to get out as we've got a knife-wielding Freudstein coming after her and slices at her jugular. Real deep light, and the blood. I dig this because it's a nice slasher effect. I mean, the blood is just gushing out of her neck.
That is a woman's hand holding that knife.
Yeah, I bet that too.
So where do we fall on this? Was Anne not a
player?
Right. Is she just a creepy girl from around town, needed a job, and showed up at the the realtor put her in contact with Anne.
So Anne gets eviscerated at the top of the stairs trying to bang on the door for Bob to come and get her.
Yeah.
Open the door.
Yeah. Bob doesn't give a crap.
He doesn't give two shits. He grabs his toys and his flashlight to finally go down in the basement. The door opens quite easily as he walks down the steps, not through any blood.
Mm-hmm.
Down the steps into the basement. The door shuts and her head rolls down the steps.
Yes. I do like the neck cutting scene. It's very cool.
I do. It's very bloody. Bob runs back out and the door closes on his hand by itself. It's crossing over to haunted house type story. So the house is working against them.
where that has not been established at all.
Not at all.
Yeah, you're right. This isn't even, I don't know. I think if I understood the plot more, it would things would.
Meanwhile, 2 hours later, Mom comes home with the damn groceries from Woolworths.
She just had to walk like
she
6 miles.
And high heels.
Mom seems like she can put up with a lot. Oh my God, I thought you were joking, but no, I just saw that scene. She literally did walk from town with two big bags. It's like, I wish I hadn't bought 17 oranges.
I'm glad all I got was fiddle faddle.
It's got the last 3 bags of kitty litter they had. Whew. Shouldn't have been wearing this trench coat. It was 80 degrees outside. So now Mom and Bob are going to go down into the basement.
He's the one holding the flashlight.
Yeah. In all the confusion, Mom forgot to put her bra on.
And I'm fine with that. That's how I like to shop at Woolworths.
Mm-hmm.
Braless. Looking around the basement, nothing to see. Mommy, honestly, there was a head of my babysitter right there.
And meanwhile, she should be more... She's already had weird things happen to her. That basement is terrifying.
There's a shot with demon eyes.
You sure that's not just a carbon monoxide
detector?
I do like that little effect. They basically just shined a light through a couple of like ping pong balls with design on them.
What's the guy's name again?
Norman.
Norman's walking through...
Dr. Norman Boyle.
Norman's walking through a cemetery with freaking
Jim Gaffigan.
Yeah, Jim Gaffigan kind of shows up.
Where did that guy come from?
Oh, he just kind of runs up and says, Hey, what are you doing here? Oh, I'm the groundskeeper. What are you doing? What are you looking for? I'm looking for a tomb of Dr. Freudstein. And he says, you too?
Those guys are instant buddies. He's like, I've got another sandwich in my lunch bag if you want to just hang out.
It's a lot of bunk that Freudstein's buried here. Now, come on. The cemetery's closed. Let's go. So that's what in his records, it showed that Freudstein was buried in this cemetery. But this groundskeeper, Chris Elliott, says, your records are wrong.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Well,
really a scene that goes
Can we update those?
Yeah. It's just gossip.
I guess this is before the internet.
Is there a carton of milk next to Bob's bed?
She just took a carton of milk out. That's why he looks like he does. It's like the picture of lactose. Just a pink, round, tender.
So Mom tucks Bob into bed. Bob immediately gets up to go look around the freaking basement for his dead
babysitter ?
Yeah.
Nanny ?
So he goes down there. We see more glowing ping pong ball.
That basement set it's like Evil Dead creepy.
This scene where Bob freaks out inside, he can't open the basement door and he's just pounding. And all the time I'm like, Freudstein, get up there and get the kid already.
Imagine you waking up first thing in the morning and being like, kind of stretching while you're brushing your teeth and stuff. Freudstein's been, he's not just going to jump up and,
like, these kids aren't going to kill themselves.
Haven't done yoga in a couple of weeks. Just maybe a downward dog kind of help loosen up some of this.
I'll be right there, kid.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Mom goes to unlock the basement door, which I guess is a self-locking. It's a self-locking door.
I would assume that it would be easier the second time after you kind of knocked all that.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess maybe this is, maybe they don't have a WD-40 or...
Exact. Maybe not. So she grabs the same knife that's been sitting out.
They might as well throw that knife away because they're never going to get an edge back on that.
Well, she breaks it in the door after she breaks the key in the lock. She breaks it in the door trying to pry the door open.
Yeah. She's a mama trying to protect her cub.
Yeah. In the meantime, Bob's on the inside pounding, let me out. Mom's on the outside pounding, let me in.
All the while, there's a POV shot that's coming right at him.
Mm-hmm. The shadows coming at her. She screams, freaking Norman, and you should not be consoled by this.
Yes. He has failed as a father. He's let his family be abducted by cellar dwellers, and all he's doing is trimming his beard. I
do like this. It is very reminiscent of
Poltergeist?
No, City of the Living Dead.
Uh-huh.
You have Bob
yes,
being pressed against the door by a woman's hand.
Yes.
A young woman's hand, while Dad is trying to chop through the door with this tiny little axe.
Yes. A hatchet.
It's a tiny hatchet. And which the blade comes very deathly close to Bob. Yeah. It was very fun.
Yeah, like the pickaxe scene in City of the Living.
Exactly.
Where his mom was in the casket.
Mm-hmm. Somehow he chops through Freudstein's good hand.
Which, that was as much Freudstein's fault as it was the dad's, because... He enabled that hand chop. So the physics of that is weird because his arm was like against the door.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Very strange.
Okay, so finally
we get to see Freudstein. Is that where you're headed?
Yes. I mean, we really have not had any type of monster effects until now.
So this was kind of confusing. So we see Freudstein getting up with the severed hand. Bob's in the basement floor. He wakes up and he's scared.
Mm-hmm.
And it does the dead body reveal where Bob is now the final girl, seeing all the dead bodies that are placed out for him to discover.
Yes.
So we have Freudstein hanging. Now he was hanging. Now he's not hanging. Whatever. You see a eviscerated dead body on the table. The babysitter hanging by not her neck because she's decapitated.
Mm-hmm. You do see her head later.
So a slow moving Freudstein.
Yeah. He's got a little cot down there.
Yeah. Oh, he's been hanging out. They didn't notice that cot earlier when they were checking out the basement.
That's what I like.
And in fact, he's kept up this basement better than the rest of the house.
Yeah. And he's wearing like a Civil War kind of...
a double-breasted jacket, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now we've got Dr. Norman. Is it Dr. Norman?
Yeah.
And
guess.
Freudstein. They're in battle.
Yeah.
Where Norman comes out after him with the hatchet.
Kind of lamely.
Oh.
Just with the kind of
He was totally telegraphing his punches.
Didn't put his wrist into it at all.
Meanwhile, Freudstein only has one wrist.
And is moving real slow, really avoidable.
There's a whole table full of bloody knives that Freudstein's used on his past victims.
Haphazard array of knives. I saw that too. I was like, He's like, what am I in the mood for today?
So Norman grabs a knife and stabs Freudstein in the abdomen and pulls out some like Vegemite.
I'm not going to lie. That made me a little sick to my stomach. It just looks like...
It's just... It starts off with maggots, but when we pan to the floor, it's worms.
Yeah. And I try to comfort myself by being like, oh, well, those are just like little plastic things that they found. Wait a minute. Nope. These are Italian people. They're real maggots.
Yeah.
Real mealworms, and so gross.
So Freudstein grabs at Norman's neck, does a roadhouse.
Yep, he roadhoused him. He's like, I used to fuck guys like you in prison. I think that's what he said.
Until it's time to not be nice.
The last 15 minutes of this movie are actually really cool. Like him almost making it to him and her trying to lift up it's scary.
So in the basement, I guess to the crypt door that the real estate agent broke through with her ankle, there is a ladder that goes up, a stairwell that goes up to that crypt door.
Yes, but her and Bob got down there through the door in the kitchen.
Right.
Space in this movie is confusing.
Yeah. Again, this is Catriona McCall's freaking IMDb picture where she's grasping at the crack in the cement.
Yeah, that's a very cool scene.
While a super slow-mo Freudstein
is like, could have already been up there grabbing Bob.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, this is where this is what you've worked so hard for. Just get him. He's like 5 feet away.
Easily.
If he slipped on the kid's little remote control Ferrari or whatever that was, that would have been all badass.
Worth it. I do kind of like Freudstein grabs Mom and drags her down the stairs, and Fulci, or LF, he makes sure that the camera gets every shot of her face smacking against every step in the stairs. It's hilarious.
I know. I have more empathy for that character than about everybody else. I hate the kids. I hate the dad. But she is just like, tries hard, and
she has gone through a lot.
She's gone through a lot. She's trying to figure it out too. And
she walked home for Woolworths.
Oh my God. Hey, and I don't know if I read this in the trivia, but like everybody's sweating in this movie. And God, you think about the doctor and, everybody. It was like the middle of summer. It was like 100 degrees when they were filming all this.
Does it get that hot in New York or Massachusetts?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Sure. Okay. So Mom's unconscious, quote unquote, dead, maybe.
Yeah, maybe dead.
But Bob's trying to squeeze through the small crack in the crypt door while slow ass moving Freudstein is coming after him. Bob squeezes through the crack and is helped out of the crypt by a ghost?
Yeah.
So we got the ghost girl and ghost mom.
Mm-hmm. But they're in their element. You know what I mean? Like, that's their house.
They can do whatever. But this makes me think that... So Mom basically shows up with the ghost girl to grab Bob, and she takes him out to the cemetery, does she not? And down the road?
You mean Mary?
Yes.
Yes.
Ghost Mary Freudstein.
Oh, let's see what you're saying. Is Bob alive or dead? Or
Bob was killed by Freudstein, but basically we're just giving you a...
He was adopted by a ghost.
An easier to palate ending.
Or what my theory is maybe he didn't quite know how to end the movie and didn't know how to like tie up all those strings and just doesn't care. You figure it out. What do you think? You think they're ghosts, or do you think...
Is it just kind of like a City of the Living Dead ending where you're like, oh, there's a scream and we don't know what happens?
Yeah, or this is like kind of a, Jacob's Ladder or something where Bob is actually just like on a workbench down there dead, and this is, his last, like, he's like hallucinating.
Yeah, I'll take either way. Read this off. So we end the film with them just walking off down the road.
Uh-huh. And
so we can't decide whether Bob was killed in the basement by Freudstein. It's up to interpretation. What do you want?
We're definitely not going to weigh in on which one we definitely thought it should have been. And didn't City of the Living Dead end in like a biblical thing or something? Or am I thinking of it?
I think so.
It had some quote or something at the very end.
Go ahead and read this one off for our audience.
It's showing a shot of the house, and some text comes up that says, "No one will ever know whether children are monsters or monsters are children." Period. Henry James.
Henry James.
Henry
Who is
James.
Henry James?
He wrote. Didn't he write?
No, it's totally fictitious. In the IMDb trivia, it says that Fulci or LF totally made this up.
Weird.
It's not a real quote.
Why didn't he just put Lucio Fulci at the end?
Exactly.
Of it?
He wanted to sound a little bit more,
Just turn the names around, make him James Henry, so everybody is like, we know what you're talking about, but never trust someone with two first names.
Mm-hmm. The film's original shooting title was called Freudstein. Just Freudstein.
They should have made it like Freudstein with a exclamation point, because it's like a new Broadway show.
Wow.
Oh my God, if they made a musical out of House by the Cemetery,
I'd go to see that.
I'd go see it once.
You have said this is one of your favorite films, at least your favorite Italian horror film.
I think because this, along with City of the Living Dead, which was called Gates of Hell when I used to rent it from the video store, I just knew that they were like connected, but it's the Italian movies are just so,
Are they more into gore?
Yes.
Than they are into actual storytelling or actual plot-driven sequences?
I think it's both, where they go places that, it seems like American horror movies or slashers like these, even supernatural slashers like, Friday the 13th and stuff. These Italian movies really cross a lot of boundaries, like taboo things like killing children and, I guess Jason did die when he was... This movie just showed a freaking dead baby on a workbench in a cellar with all of its guts hanging out. And, when I saw City of the Living Dead for the first time, I was shocked that there were movies like that, And then I finally saw Zombie 2, which is regular zombie. I still haven't figured that out. And that's another confusing thing too, is trying to look these movies up back in the day, because they all had so many different, American release names, and some of them were uncut. And
maybe we need to go into a Bava trilogy or
I love
Argento trilogy.
Well, you and I for a long time watched, was it Kill Baby Kill?
Mm-hmm.
You and I have seen that like 20 times, and it's not the best. It's like all these other ones where it's so they just focus more on like the visuals rather than the plot.
And I mentioned before that I thought I saw Demons at the theater, and actually Demons did have a theatrical release. It was in 1984 that it released in...
Can you imagine
in the U.S.? I didn't realize there was actually a Demons 3.
Yeah.
It's called
Ogre.
The Ogre.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I have never seen that.
I have. Demons 2
I've seen Demons 1 and 2.
Yes.
I don't remember 2. I barely remember 1.
2 is kind of like Halloween to Halloween 2. It's like, it's cool, but just not as...
Yeah, not the same.
Not the same.
So maybe that would be an interesting, trilogy to come back to on...
oh, for sure. I think that this is going to be... Because, when I think of the moratorium, I do think of these like odd Italian movies, that... I mean, I rented Demons as well, as this one, and Gates of Hell, and...
I mean, that's what I really remember. When you talk about Italian horror films, I think of Gates of Hell, I think of Demons, I think of Suspiria.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's probably, those are like the top 3 Italian horror directors, correct?
Yeah, sure.
Bava, Argento, Fulci.
Yep. And they're it's just got a different style to them. And I like them. For some reason, I like them that they're dubbed, that they're like, just the fact that they're foreign makes them...
Does it hold a little bit more water for you because they're foreign?
I don't know. Maybe. Because, like, there's so many other, like Joe D'Amato, he's just, like, pure sleaze, I mean, like, there's going to be tits on screen at all times. But, man, he did one called Beyond the Darkness. And so we'll have to do it on this at some point, because it's definitely like a video nasty from the early 80s. And it's so gross. Ugh.
Can't say that I've seen it. D'Amato?
Mm-hmm. Apostrophe. Throw an apostrophe in there and see if that brings up another.
I can't get off of Paul Giamatti. No, I did not say that. Not the same person.
Can't get off on?
Yeah. I gotta say, I love all of these Italian slasher box art. I love them.
Oh yeah, dude. I love the ones that we just did. The Fulci movies. Oh, but you know what? City of Living Dead mixes that up, because it's that actress at the very beginning of this one that threw her guts up, and cried blood. But on the cover, it shows the other girl crying blood. So I'm going to write my congressman about that. My favorite of those Italian posters that you were talking about is the one for City of the Living Dead.
I dig all of... I don't know. There's something about Italian horror films that is just... It's appealing.
I think they really push the boundaries of, gore and horror effects and...
Not so much on plot.
No, I mean, why would you bother? Who cares? We're there to see people's like feet get cut off and stuff. Yeah, and I think we need to do more of these. I think we need to do zombie eventually, and
I agree.
And dig into those old Bava movies. Like, they're not huge on the gore, but it's just atmosphere.
Let's set this up now for next week's Yarn Wall, because it's going to be hard to get out of this film.
Yeah, well,
it is really going to be hard if you just don't go with, if you want to go with the director, you're fine. You can get out of it. But House by the Cemetery has no real American actors in it.
Mm-mm.
So you'll really have to pick to get your way out of it.
Yeah. I'll figure it out. Don't worry.
It's all you. It's on you.
Okay.
To get us out of this, if you want to go for a lighthearted comedy romp.
Yeah, like a sex romp, like one of those early 70s. Not Amy Sedaris. Yeah, Andy Sedaris.
Yeah.
I think Amy Sedaris is what was throwing me off. She's the girl from Strangers with Candy,
Right.
Yeah, I was getting those confused. Yeah, but Malibu Express, Picasso Trigger, we got to do one of those eventually.
We could spend years just going through foreign films.
Yeah, anything dubbed. That's what we're going to change the title of the podcast to. Okay, well, we did it.
All right. Anything else to add on this?
No one will ever know whether children are monsters or monsters are children, guys. Hey, if you're out there and you've got children, just let them be monsters if they want to be monsters.
Or
I don't have anything else. That's it. Henry James.
Henry James.
Peace, Henry James. That was that was the last thing he said before he died. He said, "No one will ever know whether children are monsters or monsters are children. Peace, Henry James."
He just said his own name. He didn't drop the mic. He just said,
No.
Henry James.
He just dropped his bedpan. All right.
Ding, 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 ding.
Okay.
All right. Good stuff.
Yep. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to The Moratorium, an MT Cornfield production. For more fun and stupidity, stay tuned. Well, we finally did it. And that I mean we successfully traversed our first trilogy. Next week, we resume our regularly scheduled programming with the Yarn Wall, where we try to forget everything that we've learned from the Italians. Again, please like, share, and subscribe. Then rinse and repeat. We appreciate your support. If you have any movie suggestions, or just want to tell us how much we really suck, you can contact us at moviemoratorium@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and long live VHS. Yes, 'cause I'm in your head, Bob. Bob!